My first tape was an MC Hammer tape. My mom bought me in '88, I believe, '88. Then I started listening to KRS-One. My uncle would always play music because he was a DJ. I got hundreds of CDs, and I just think from just listening to so much music, I knew that I could contribute to it. Once I went to the University of Pittsburgh, and my friend, he was my roommate also, he was producing on this program called FL Studio, or Fruity Loops. Eventually, I started using the program, and I found out that I liked it, and I liked making my own music. So from that point on, I just took it and ran with it. And then from there, I just committed to it. I figured this is what I want to do,
I sort of always knew I wanted to play music, and I played in bands a lot when I was growing up in Baltimore. And I came up to Philadelphia to go to music school. While I was here, I started a band called Dragon Zord. It's just mainly like a songwriting thing, which still continues to this day. It used to be a solo acoustic thing, but now it's like a full band. And one day when I was walking down the street with my guitar, this guy I never met before ran up to me and gave me a flyer to audition for his band, and it turned out to be a band called Nouveau Riche with Dice Raw from the Roots crew, and Nikki Jean and Kari, and it was just a really, really good experience. I played guitar in the house band at Black Lily last year, and so the last summer I played some shows with the California band J Davy, and I'm working with a whole bunch of artists right now, just kind of trying to make things work.
I've always, at least for the last 20 years, been in a space where I'm art making and facilitating other people's art. At a really young age, I learned about public relations. I used to dance, I was in theater, I always drew. I was really into photography in high school. But at the same time, I had a lot of friends who were like trying to be rappers, and so, I found myself like trying to do their little press kits and stuff like that. I had sort of a really major project, and in a lot of ways missed the momentum to move on to a next one, because I instead started working on this project, which was the Black Lily Film Music Festival, and also started managing a couple of artists, and that took up all my free time.
My mother's an artist. She's a fiber artist. She always made me do art pretty much. Like since I was a kid, I had to draw, I had to learn how to knit, I had to do all that type of stuff, painting, watercolors, all that stuff, since I was real young. And then when I was around 7 or 8, I got my first like SLR 35mm camera, and started taking pictures, and just been doing it since birth. I do freelance, and I have like steady clients. Like I have a client base. Like they pay flat rates for the month, and then they just come to me for whatever they need. It's like a 9 to 5, pretty much. But it's, 6 to 4, 5 to 7, 2 to 3. However much time it takes in a day.
Basically, what made me leave the 9 to 5 was that I got tired of working for somebody else and really not seeing the benefits of it and how it benefited me. Besides the fact that I could pay my rent and I could pay my bills, and I had spending money. It really wasn't doing anything for me. It wasn't fulfilling me. All I did was clerical work in the law department for the city of Philadelphia. To me, that's not significant. Like, I can't look back and say, when I look back years from now and say, wow, I did a great job working at the law department. No, like I have nothing to show for that, I came to a point where I said, this is not going to help me 3 years from now. This is not going to help me 5 years from now. So what will help me? And basically, it was the music, it was, my spirituality, it was me developing myself as an individual, and I thought that was more important than working a 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 was taking up most of my time, and all these other things were being neglected.
It definitely makes you like hustle a lot harder. Like when you know that if it's the kind of thing where it's just like, if you don't get this together, you probably won't be able to be, at least me, like if I don't get this together right now, I know that I probably won't be able to work as hard on creative stuff in a few years, because it's like more obligations will pop up, you know what I mean? And then I don't know what'll happen, so it's just like, I might as well just work hard on it right now and just see what I can do and just be broke right now. It's like I started teaching these really young kids, and it became like a very different experience. Like, and I did it over the summer actually. I taught a group of 36-year-olds and it sort of made me realize that I never want to teach like elementary school. Like it may be for some people, I never want to teach like big groups of kids. Like it's just like, that would just be hell.
It's a feeding frenzy really for the jobs that are out there if they don't have a degree. Plus like the style that I do a lot of my work in is kind of niche, so it's hard to get work because of that too. But you know, for the people that I do end up working with, it's a perfect fit. Like I'm inspired to do the work and they're inspired by the work I do. Because sometimes there's not the money there, but there's the energy and inspiration and progression and creativity, which is, you know, much more beneficial to me in a lot of senses, but not beneficial to me and when I'm trying to go to the grocery store.
It's just been a challenge for me to figure out what was more important, because I, you know, knew that facilitating was also an art, and so it was just sort of trying to figure out which one I was gonna do. So I feel like I've given that some time, and I feel like I've put it in, you know. I didn't get paid for Black Lily. I don't get paid very well for the booking management that I do. So for me to say that I do that for money is a joke. I mean, I don't, you know. It's easier to do the facilitating work because you don't have to put yourself out there in a vulnerable way. You know, it's much easier to tell other people to put themselves out there and sort of make that happen rather than, you know, doing your own stuff.
There's a lot that I'm working on outside of music, and that's the conflict. Like, do I focus on music or do I focus on this? And what's more beneficial? So outside of music, I'm working on the Biz Exclusives, and basically is a newsletter that educates students in high school and college about the music industry. I'm going to be working on a housing initiative to educate community residents about gentrification and what's going on in their neighborhoods and how they can plug into resources so that way they're not being taken advantage of by the outside developers that are coming into their communities.
Outside of art, I do some international work with a non-government organization based in Thailand with my uncle, with doing fundraising for them and selling clothes. I organize some music events. We just started a company called Love Muscle Productions. Like, I do some curating at some art galleries with different people that I know that do art, and get them to come over and meet the people and put their art up. I try to just help out people and try and bridge different people, network people together that need to be together. So I mean, it's still in the same realm of art. Like, I don't think any day of the week I'm ever outside of something creative.
I guess I sort of had like this really like weird attitude like up until pretty recently, where I was like, you know, if I'm not doing music related stuff all the time, then I'm not succeeding. You know, and then I guess I sort of realized a few times after when I like felt like particularly crushed in my soul, you know, after like teaching that, like, you know, there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just like, it's like I told you before, it's like as long as you're working every day, like it's like, it's not an issue, you know what I mean? Like whether you're like working at like a cash register or, you know, CVS or something like that, you know what I mean? Or doing something else. But it's like I said earlier too, it's like, I don't really think I'm that good at like many other things. I mean, I might be selling myself short, but like, it definitely has been like my main focus for most of my life. So it's like I might as well just, you know, try and like make that work as much as possible. I sort of at this point am trying like in terms of gigs just to play music that I want to do. You know what I mean? Like I sort of like feel like I only do a good job when I play the kind of music I want to do. Play the kind of music I want to play. You know, so I have a few teaching jobs. I teach a few days a week and just kind of try and make ends meet from that and money from gigs, you know? I mean, it's like just a school where they teach rock and roll. And basically that's like all I ever did when I was growing up, you know, it's like listen to rock music, so.
There are not enough artists who want to be responsible for their own work. So, in that case, I think that it's really important to have people be those intermediaries, to be the managers, to be the booking agents, to be the publicists and gallery owners and you know, all of those other roles. So I just did it because I felt like there was a void and it was needed and I, you know, wanted to see it happen. But ultimately, if I could do anything, you know, I would have a career similar to like Julie Taymor, where I directed and I did costumes and I did set and, you know, back and forth, you know, sort of did things like that.
I just want people to really have my music impact them and touch their soul. I don't really care if they dance to my records. I just want them to hear some type of message, whether it's an instrumental and they get some type of soulful message from that instrumental, or it's an artist rapping over that beat and sending a message. I just want my music to really inspire somebody to do something, whatever they interpret it to be, but just to do something.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be with Love Muscle or with some other type of group, but I want to start like a center of creativity. So with like a housing to it, like a building.
You don't have a social action without some kind of art making that expresses that, you know, and many artists are often social justice, you know, they have social justice leanings in any way, and so their work is about trying to have a more adequate or equitable society. Our society is still needing to understand that art is crucial and necessary, but also artists have to decide that as well. You know, I don't think a lot of artists really believe that what they do is necessary. A lot of what we have left from the past are artifacts. Not to be corny, but you know, what we have left over is art. That's how we know how people live. That's how we know, you know, what they were thinking. You know, a lot of religion wouldn't exist without art that expresses it. So yeah, I mean, it is everything about us.